Hello there everybody, Sam Strains here and welcome back to the railway. Now today's video is a little bit different, which I'm always glad about, and it's actually a request from a chap called Mitchell Hogg, who a few weeks back now sent me a request saying, could you please do a video showing all your rolling stock, coaches and freight, and show them all in a video together. So that's what I'm doing today. Now I realise that idea is could potentially be quite boring, but I'm hoping that it's not. Firstly because I haven't actually got as much as you might expect, simply because I put most of my efforts into collecting locomotives and I don't really buy that much rolling stock. Having said that, I have accumulated quite a bit over the years, so there should be plenty to show. Secondly, I've decided that only the first half of the video is going to be showing the rolling stock, so it's going to be very much a whistle-stop tour, because I realise that it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea just to spend however long it's going to take looking at rolling stock. So it's going to be quite a quick tour, and then for the second half of the video I thought I'd sort of make a few selections and then do a montage of some of them running on the railway with various locomotives, which should be more interesting at least. So here we are anyway. This is the coach section of the room, which I don't think I've ever explicitly shown before, which might be quite interesting. I don't know how many coaches I've actually got. There's quite a few rakes, so I'm going to look through them. Now I've left out all the single coaches because I have got quite a few odds and ends that I've picked up over time, which are not part of rakes, but a lot of those I'll show you in a moment. But these are only the rakes. So I'll start off with the top shelf then. Now the camera's on autofocus now, so it might be a bit lazy, but let's see. So we'll start on the top then. Now first we've got some Triang coaches, which I don't use too often because they've got the older wheels. But let's see here, they're sort of the blood and custard type coaches. Let's see, will it focus? I doubt it, but it might. There you go. And so there's three of those. I believe two of them are only brakes, so it's not going to be perfect. But yep, that's those. Blood and custard, if you like. Triang ones. You will have found those in a lot of the old Triang sets as well, quite interestingly. Right, next up then we've got the first half of my LMS collection. These are some sort of odds and ends. These are quite little coaches. In fact, I'll cut away to a close-up of these so that you can see them, just because it didn't work too well, did it, when I tried to do a close-up. So there's those two which are quite nice together for a little small train perhaps, and then there's this one as well, which was a kit-built one. Yeah, that's not too bad. And then we've got this couple, which came from one of the Hornby sets. This was the Night Mail train set, as you can see, cunningly written on the side. And it's one of those dodgy postal collection coaches, which I never had much success with personally, but I can see why there'd be a lot of fun. And then there's also this single coach, which I don't know where I got it from now, but this wasn't on eBay. I found this, I don't know, at a market or something, I think. But I thought it looked quite cool. I've not got any more to go with it, but yeah, it's quite nice. It's Lima, I think. Right, let's move on to the bigger rakes then. Let's start with these. Now these are all the same, so I won't bother getting them out, and you've seen them hundreds of times as well. These are sort of the middle-aged teak coaches. These are the very older ones that came out back in the sort of Hornby Triang era, and these are the more modern ones. And there's how many of those? There's 5 of those. There are some new ones now that have come out with sort of NEM couplings and superior detail and whatnot. But no, I got these quite inexpensively, I think. I think I paid about £20 for all of them, all told, which was quite a good deal if you ask me. And like I already mentioned, I've got 4 of these older ones, a couple of brakes, and then just the regular passenger carriages. Of course, these are LNER, I don't know if I mentioned that. Alright, next up we've got the Southern Railway coaches. These are some reasonably new ones I bought. These are the old style Hornby ones. There's a close-up of them anyway. Of course they're the SR coaches in a gorgeous green livery. I'm not sure what the official name is. It begins with M, but I won't try and pronounce it because I'll mess it up. But yeah, there's 4 of those. That one's the brake, of course. And behind there we've got what the rest of them look like. I think there are 2 brakes actually, possibly. Yeah, I think so. But that's what the rest of them look like. They're really, really nice coaches actually, and I've got quite a few southern videos planned, so you'll probably see those quite a bit in the near future. Alright, starting on to the next row then, we've got the set of Pullman coaches. Now the one at the front is quite interesting because this is not Hornby or anything, this one's actually a Wren coach. and I thought it'd be quite nice to show the Wren coaches. So it's not technically part of the rake, but I thought it'd be quite nice to show. So there's the Wren coach, car number 73. And then behind that, of course, we've got the white Pullman Coaches, 3 of those, and then there's one Hornby one here as well, which is exactly the same, it's just slightly different livery. Moving on then, we've got more Gresley Coaches, or I don't know more, but more Blood and Custard Coaches at least. 3 of those, a really pretty rake. That's the brake, of course, and that's the passenger coach. And I'm taking these out because behind there you can see the World War, I think these are World War One, aren't they? World War One ambulance train cars from Bachmann's ambulance train set, which are really nice. I need to run them more often, but it's they're sort of weird to run, aren't they? But you know, I could still run them. I don't really need an excuse, do I? Yeah, and yeah, the Gresley coaches are quite nice as well, so that's cool. Alright, next up I've got my rake of Intercity Coaches. Now I don't like to lie stuff on top like this, not normally, because it can damage them obviously, so I don't like to do that, but I'll put that in. They're all very similar, they're all quite different, but you can use them, I sort of use them as BR coaches as well. Okay, now behind here we've got something more interesting. I'll cut away to a little close up. These are hidden down here. These are sort of some Hornby Dapple coaches. Let's get a couple of these out. And these are all sort of strange, and you have to be careful with the Hornby Dapple because some of them have metal wheels. And because all the Dapple stuff, or a lot of it, used to have 3 rails, the outer 2 rails often weren't insulated. So if you get Dapple rolling stock that has metal wheels, you will find that it will short across a 2-rail controller. So you really want to be careful with that. So these all have plastic wheels anyway, so it's not a big issue at all. And I'm sorry that the camera keeps trying to focus. It must be very loud and annoying, but I'll move out the way in a sec. Okay, moving down to the bottom row then, we've got my rake of Great Western Coaches here. As you can see, there's the brake, and there's the rest. And behind those, if I just pull those out, there's also my couple of Intercity Coaches that belong to the Swallow HST, rather than the 125. So you can see those there. There's only 2 of those, but that's not too bad. So I'll stick those back now. And if we look across onto the next shelf, you can see more of the sort of Blood and Custard Coaches. I'm not sure if I would call them Blood and Custard, because it's certainly not the type of custard I would eat if it was that orange. But yeah, there's 3 of those. They're quite nice coaches. They're sort of universal coaches. I could probably use them with most locomotives and get away with it. And I do like those because they've got some people inside them, which is very nice. There is only 3 of those, sadly. But sometimes a 3-coach set looks quite nice, and of course if I want a big rake I can mix and match, or use sort of the LMS coaches or the LNER ones or something like that. Right, so the last set then is the LMS coaches, the rest of them. First 2 are these. I'll get a close-up of them for you, and they're the sort of 3rd class coaches with 1 first class compartment. They're quite cool. These are mainline ones. Again, they're quite nice if you want a little train. I often do stick them onto bigger rakes as well, just to boost it up a bit. And then I've got another set of Lima, I think it's Lima, yeah, it's all Lima, LMS coaches, 4 of those, quite a big rake, and they're really quite nice, they are. You'll notice I run those quite often. So yeah, that's the coach collection then. Put all this back. Hopefully that was quite interesting, and hopefully it wasn't too long, fingers crossed. And before we move on to rolling stock, there's also a few more bits. There's of course these Coronation Scott coaches that I got not long ago, and there's also a few other pieces that are in other places around the room, so I'll just go and show you those now. Now the first of this stuff is here on the top of the loft ladder, as it's kind of a display if you like. And this is a lot of the stuff that either doesn't have couplings, has slight damage to it, or doesn't have the right wheels to run on my track, or the, you know, whatever. So it's not junk, but it's stuff that I wouldn't run on the railway normally. So this is, for example, one of the coaches that John gave to me from Chams 123, and he's nicked the couplings off it, as you can see, and I think it's got the old wheels. Perhaps those wheels are alright on modern track. So it's one of those things that I'll keep out so that I see it every day. and if I find some couplings that I can sort of glue on or whatever, if I find a way to repair it, I can do so. There's all sorts. There's this red wagon, which I don't really like the colour of, and also I don't, you know, it's got like sticky stuff on it. There's the SO milk wagon that's missing one coupling, the Corey wagon, some of the paint's come off. This has got some funny couplings on it as well. So yeah, there's all that, and then there's these Triang coaches at the back, which I don't run very much because they've got the big flanged wheels. There's all different sorts. These as well are from various sets from the 50s or 60s and whatnot. And yeah, I like them all, so I keep them in view. But I just don't necessarily run them. So yep. So there's this bottom drawer here, which includes stuff that I do run, but not too often, for similar reasons as before. Really, we've got these, which are quite horrible, aren't they? These are Lms Coaches. I don't know where they came from. I found them on eBay quite inexpensively and bought them. They haven't got very nice couplings on them, so I don't tend to use them very often. There's stuff like the car transporter, which I've repaired with modern wheels and such, but it doesn't run too great, so that's a reason why that one doesn't run too often. There's these wagons, Triang wagons, which again have the old wheels, which I don't really run. I do run them from time to time. There's this Triang rake, which again, for the same reason, doesn't get run too often. I bought this from the South Devon Railway, this rake, for about £5 or something silly like that. But they're just, nice coaches. So I do try to run them occasionally, but they need more supervision, let's say. Again, this has got the odd couplings. I don't know what it is, some sort of pottery wagon or whatever. And also the logs, which again run on older track. So when I get the Super 4 track out, this is the stuff that tends to run on it, or most of it anyway. Right, okay, so here's the first of the freight then. This is Boxcars Part 1, if you like. So we've got, I'm going to get straight into it here. We've got Coca-Cola here. This is all Hornby stuff, I believe, and Triang, of course. Kellogg's, well, presumably cornflakes or something like that in there. We've got a couple of McVitie's Baker Better biscuit wagons. They're the ones that start my stomach rumbling every time. Then we've got a couple of Southern Railway, well, what are these? Livestock wagons, I suppose, which are pretty cool. There's two of those, not too bad. That one's a bit worn, so that side's the better one. Then we've got a bread wagon, Mighty White, Fish Fingers, Bird's Eye, of course. And then there's this one, I forget what this one is, Sheaf Materials Handling Limited. Great. Now I've got 3 Weetabix wagons, or box cars. I'm not so keen on Weetabix, so that doesn't do a lot for me. Kit Kat, again, I'm not dead keen on Kit Kats actually either. But yeah, it's nice to have a Kit Kat wagon though, isn't it? Look how cool it looks. Then we've got 3 pork, or prime pork, is it prime pork? Yeah. Wagons, with the big pig on the side. 3 of those. What's this one here? Oh, that was just a regular 10-ton box car. Pretty cool. Now these on the end here are all the crisps, snacks and nuts, and you can tell I'm certainly a crisps and snacks person at least, because there's rather a lot of those. I do like those, I'll snap those up if I see them. One day I'll try and get a big rake, like 10 of them or something. It looks really nice. How many is there? 6 there at the moment, so that's cool. Alright, let's get on to the next set of box cars then. Okay, so this lot's a little bit more miscellaneous, but we'll get on with it anyway. So first off, we've got a rake of 4 insulated milk vans from the LMS. Really, really nice they are. 4 of those. I bought those from a guy on eBay, I can't remember when. Not too long ago. Then we've got the Triang Toys one. That's a classic one if you're a Triang fan, which is cool. And they all sit on these, oops, no, not like that. They all sit on these sort of red low loaders, if you like. If this will come off. There you go, and they all sit on those, and I've got quite a few of those, as you'll see, which is a good idea actually. You can sort of transfer things around, but that one's always been on there and it'll always stay on there. Now this one should have really been with the passenger stuff, but this is one from a starter set, the Blue Highlander I think, which is just a tiny passenger coach, so it's not a box car, but I didn't show it earlier, so that's that. I hardly ever run it, to be fair. Then we've got, what is this? Concentrated floral disinfectant, Zoflora, or Zoflora, yeah, Zoflora. It's Graphar. So Adrian, that's another one of Graham Farish's 00 stuff. I didn't realise that actually, so that's cool. Yeah, so that's a Graphar wagon, and yeah, as I said, Graphar is Graham Farish when they made a few bits of 00 stuff. So yeah, that's quite cool. Not a bad little wagon. Then we've got this Dapple Sachs assault wagon. Very nice, very classic. Does derail a little bit. I'll probably have to look at the wheels on that one, but yep, not an issue. Then everybody's favourite, the Caboose van. That one's a 12-ton van, so 12 tons of chocolate. That might go a long way. Then we've got this, which came from John from Chams123. It's a very odd one. Well, not odd. It's odd to me because most of my stuff is British. It's a Santa Fe wagon, and why this is so important is because it converts my couplings to the rest of the world couplings, which are these sort of tension lock couplings, or knuckle couplers, whatever you want to call them. So if I ever decide to buy more transcontinental rolling stock with these couplings on them, this will be perfect, so that my locos can pull them. And again, this one was another one that John gave me from his scrap heap. This one was a Trying Railways car. I don't know what it is. It looks like it's some sort of animal or you know, livestock wagon. I could be wrong about that, but it's got the opening doors, which is nice. And yeah, that's cool. Now we've got the guards vans and Caboose in this case. So there's one of them. That's a very plain Hornby one, or trying one actually, just with the one coupling on it, but that's all you need really. A couple of NE ones, two of those, which are similar, if not identical, 20 tons. Then we've got a Hornby 001 with plastic wheels again, so if I've got any 00 stuff running, that can go on the back of there. Then we've got a longer wheelbase one, which is still a 20-ton one. And then, as I said, this is a Caboose, a Union Pacific Caboose, again with those couplings on it. And this one I use with the, well, it came with the Bachmann Transcontinental diesel. I forget the number of it, but yeah, and it's got its little chimney on it and stuff. It's a bit tacky, but it's cool. Right, so that's it for the box vans. I think we'll move on to wagons next, which is a big category for me at least. So yeah, let's bring those out. Okay, so here's my wagons. A lot of them have the stones in them, of course, but we'll start with the biggest. This is quite I forget the dimensions of this. It doesn't actually say the weight on it, but it's quite a big one, and it's also articulated, as you can see, which is cool. Then we've got a Bolsover. This one doesn't have any load in it, of course, but if we look at that, that's a 20-ton wagon. And if we jump ahead a little bit, we've got a couple more Bolsovers as well, of the 20-ton ones, also one in grey, and this one's sort of a browny red, and that one's more of a reddy red, which is cool. Then we've got the Ocean Wagon. I don't know what that is, but it's like a 10-ton. Then we've got the Lemon Juice Wagon, which is a bit obscure, isn't it? But yeah, lemon juice, and this one's for Coke and coal, I think. And I don't know if it quite says the weight on it. No, I can't see that. It's probably between 10 and 20 tons normally. This one's a Pico one, Joseph Cole and Son, Clevedon, Bristol, Lime, Assault and Mortar Works. So you can guess what would be in there. Then we've got a couple of these 10-ton JL Davies wagons, London. A couple of those, one of them with a load of stones in it and such. And then we've just got this sort of miscellaneous wagon here. This is a 12-ton one. This is another Hornby one from a starter set. I think it's probably the same starter set that this was in. So that's cool. Then we've got this one. Let's see what this one is. Whoops. Again, it doesn't have the weight on it. Oh yes, it does. 31 tons, it says. Seems a lot, but yeah, it's quite a big one. Then we've got the Bolsover ones, which you've already seen. A couple of Arnold Sands ones. These are 10 tons again. Two of those, which are quite nice. Then the other JL Davis one, which we've already seen. Then we've got some stone wagons. These are the 20 ton, I think. Let's see. I'm sure they are. 26 ton. These are the 26 ton stone wagons. And there's 3 of those. There's the others. Sorry, there's 4 of those, if I can count. There we go. And then there's another 10 tonner here. This is a WM Bernard, coal and forage contractor. So that's that one. And then we've got the Great Western, well, coal wagon, I suppose, which is pretty nice. Yep, so that's the wagons. Now we'll go on to the tankers. I'm getting quite near the end now, so yep, the tankers. Alright, so here's the tankers. There's not a great deal of these, so we'll just whisk through them real quick. Here's a couple of shell ones. We've got the yellow one, the black one. In fact, I'll put the black one here as well. That's another black one. A couple of grey ones there. So that's all shell. Then we've got the BP one. There you are, that one's in green of course. Then the Texaco one in red. A couple of those as well. Cool. There's Total as well. Total. And then there's another BP one and Shell. This is a Bachmann one. It's a lot smaller, as you can tell. I don't know if that's more realistic or what. But yep, that's what that. And then there's also this one, which isn't really a tanker, but I suppose it's closest. And this is one of the Triang cement marketing company wagons. And you could actually take the roof off of that, which would make it sort of more of a wagon, I suppose. But yeah, if that had cement in it, I suppose that would make it a tanker. So that's the tankers. Now the final category, which is sort of low max and low loaders, and including the car transporter. So that's the last lot. I'll show you that right now, and then I'll get on to montaging all this lot together, or some of it. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so here's the last category, and I realise it's pathetically small. This is like the low loader category. We've got the motor rail car transporter, which is missing quite a few of the cars, but yep, that's that. That's not too bad. Then we've got this one, which is a Triang low loader, which would have had the sort of boxes on it, wouldn't it? But I've just put logs on that a long time ago. Then we've got more of those little red carriers, which I showed you earlier, which the Triang Toys is very similar to. If we take the top off again, you can see it's the same thing, but without any load. So that's that. And then we've got one of those Triang 10-ton cars as well. This time I've glued a little war truck onto it, which is pretty interesting, I suppose. I did that a long time ago, but you know, I've kept it ever since. And then who could forget the prize cow, of course, on that low loader. And I say prize cow because it's about 5 times bigger than it should be if it was double O gauge. But yeah, he pops in from time to time, which is all good fun. But yeah, that's it for the rolling stock then. I'll do a little bit of a, you know, a 5-10 minute montage now of some locos pulling all this stuff, as well as the coaches. And yeah, we'll see how we get on with it. Okay guys, stick with me if you want to. This should be the more interesting part now. Alright, let's do it. Okay, so first up is the V-Trains Class 37, pulling all the wagons, or the open top wagons if you like. That's a very nice gentle freight speed. As you can see there, they all are. And I've done this slowly strategically as well, because I don't want everything flying off the rails. Oh, I didn't put a guards van on there as well. Oops. There she is. She just looks amazing going so slowly. She's certainly a powerful girl. Look at all those wagons. I suppose it's not too many on the great scheme of things, but it's plenty. And here's the beautiful M2 pulling the various tankers and such. So there they are. Looking pretty cool. I'm sorry for doing that to a beautiful loco, by the way, putting some ugly tankers on the back. But yeah, she pulls them alright anyway. And here's the Airfix Royal Scot, pulling a variety of different box cars, as you can see. Oh, it's on the uphill now. She's slowed right down. But there we go. Yep, all looks pretty good. Here's the J83 with the various low loaders. And here's Princess Victoria with her two little coaches. And you could actually buy this as a set back in the Triang days. The loco with the two coaches. And here's Sir Nigel Gresley with her big rake of teak coaches. Looking absolutely gorgeous. And here's King George VI with the Pullman Coaches. Lovely loco, that one. Oops. She's not been run for a while. I should have probably run her in a bit. Here's a bit of an obscure one, or a bit random one at least. It's a schools class pulling the blood and custards. Doesn't look bad actually. It's a nice size rake for the loco. And here comes the HST, Intercity 125, with some of those BR coaches. Looking pretty cool. And here comes the beautiful 6100 class tank engine, pulling the Great Western coaches. A really, really nice loco, that one. I like that. And finally, here comes the LMS 1000 class, a 440 compound, with the LMS coaches, of course. So that should about wrap it up for today. Thank you very much for watching, all of you. I hope you enjoyed it. It was certainly a bit tiring on my part. She's stopped. Oh look, it's up the hill. Let's go and help her out. And yes, I think next week's videos will be a little bit simpler, just so that it doesn't wear me out quite so much. But hopefully that was interesting for you and not too dull, looking at all the rolling stock and such. And if you did like the video, please don't forget to hit the like button. And if you'd like to see more, of course, you can subscribe. But for now, if you want to see more updates, posts, or conversations and discussions, you can check out the Facebook and Twitter pages at facebook.com/samstrains and twitter.com/samstrains, as you can see on the screen there. But for now, guys, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time with another review. Alright, cheers everybody, see you all soon.